then to start to ask the angels, what is the next step to take to get from where we are to that highest priority thing? And again, notice that we're keeping our eyes on the highest priority thing. We're not asking the questions about, well, what are the things I let go of? That's not what we're getting bogged down in. We're just focusing on, well, what's the highest priority? What's the thing that most deserves our focus? Because you can feel how, right, if we were asking about the lower priority things, we would literally be giving our focus to the things that the angels just told us are not worth our focus. So that would be funny, but we're not going to do it. We're going to focus on what is that thing. And so to first ask, just start to talk, how does it feel to be in alignment with that thing? And the second thing is, what does it feel like we need to do to get into alignment with that thing? Again, not getting hung up in the details, just what does it feel like we need to do? And then what in our life might need to be different for us to be in alignment with that highest priority? And generally, in this particular healing session, and any healing session, the answers are recorded on an audio recording. Most clients don't really remember what happens in the sessions. It's kind of an altered state experience. They can remember bits and pieces. But then after the healing session, every client gets an audio recording that they're able to work through to absorb the energy that's been imprinted into the recording, and also to work through the messages from the guardian angels that come out, the messages that come out of their own mouths, messages that are channeled through the channel. And that's really the best way to start to figure out what to do with the things in your life that feel out of alignment, is you just find that priority, work to get to that priority. Now, the most important thing the guardian angels want us to take away from this is that notice how what we were doing in that healing session was we were working with somebody else. This client is not a personal friend of mine, been working together for a series of years now, but have not met any of the people who are involved in his life, none of the people who are involved in the situations that he's working through. My job is just to tell him what his guardian angels say and to help him implement that in his life. So I have no horse in this race, so to speak. I have no skin in this game. I have nothing to gain from channeling something in one way or another way. That's not my job, and it doesn't make any difference to me either way. It's incredibly hard, and the guardian angels say, for the most part, it's impossible to do this kind of process for ourselves, because we all have things we want to be our priorities. We will all come into that exercise if we're doing it for ourselves and think, yeah, sure, I want to sort this out in the right way, as long as the priority is this project I really want to work on, as long as this priority is this traveling I really want to do, as long as the priority is this romantic relationship that I really want to throw my time and my effort into. And so we'll kind of protect that thing. And even if we're doing a very good job energetically sorting, we can sort out all the other things and feel very good about ourselves, but we're still holding that thing. And maybe that thing is supposed to be kept. We don't know. But if we're holding it, we're never actually going to know. We're never actually going to find out. So that is tricky business to do for ourselves. I actually don't know what to tell you. Okay. So what we're going to do, if the guardian angels are okay, is we're going to ask the original question again, aware that it really is a microcosm of a much bigger question in a much bigger conversation. But the original question was, what do the angels and guides say to someone who might be afraid to leave a relationship behind, even if it might be good for them? And then the viewer continued, for example, say you love your significant other, but deep down in your soul, you know that the purpose of their life and the purpose of yours do not align. Well, I guess what the guardian angels are saying is, it sounds like the person who was asking the question has done the homework of looking into life purpose and realizing, okay, these two things don't go together. And so the real question is, why are you afraid? Why are we afraid? Why are we afraid to leave those kinds of relationships? This feels like a universal question. I'm sure all of us have been in experiences like this, and if we haven't, we will be, because that's how reincarnation works. All right, well, why are we afraid? Why are we afraid to walk away from those things? There's definitely the feeling of being afraid that we might have misunderstood our soul purpose. That's a real fear, that maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I thought I knew what I was born to do, but I was mistaken, and now I've ended a relationship based on something I thought I was supposed to do. And so regardless of that, your job would be just to find out what your purpose is. That would be the priority, so to speak. And if that other person seems to not come along with that, then probably that's a good answer. Probably that's a good sign. Why are we afraid to walk away from relationships or any situation that we know in the long run is not really workable? Why are we afraid? What the guardian angels are talking about, and I didn't see this coming, is an exercise very similar to the one we discussed with the client, where we sort priorities. But what sometimes is happening when we feel that fear is that our soul plan has had different versions of how it could turn out, like we were discussing earlier. And in those cases, in those client sessions, what we do is we start to sort out the expired versions of the soul plan, which often include that partner, that friend, that career job, all those different aspects of life that we are having trouble letting go of. They often belong to what the angels sometimes call a dead plan or an expired plan. And then sometimes in those client sessions, we sort the expired plans. Ooh, that's an energy shift. We sort the expired plans out. We turn them up to the client's guardian angels. We merge in with the current version of the soul plan. And then sometimes, if we do a very good job and we're very humble, sometimes those things work themselves out when we sort out the expired plan, because sometimes that other person's guardian angels will say, oh my gosh, I had no idea that they were both playing out that expired plan. That plan expired. This person's supposed to move over there. This person's supposed to take this job. They're supposed to meet other friends. They're supposed to have other experiences. They're both holding each other back. Whoops-a-daisy. And the other person's guardian angels might dislodge them, move them away, which might lead you to feel like, oh no, I thought about moving on from this friendship, moving on from this job, moving on from this opportunity, and it moved on without me, and now I feel very upset. Don't freak out. Almost always, if you've done this exercise and you've done it well and we've worked through it together, and then the situation dislodges, it's almost always a really good sign. Do not freak out, but to remember that priority that we sorted in the earlier exercise and just focus in, just head toward it, let go of those obstacles that are between you and it, and the other things will fall into place. Or at least they always have so far, and you would be the first client that they don't fall into place for. So at least then you'd have that kind of dubious honor to hold on to, which is a joke, obviously. Okay, so now we're going to ask the guardian angels if there's anything more we're supposed to work through, talk about, get clarity on about this viewer's question today. And we acknowledge there may be a need to come back to this question not too long from now. There may be different facets of this question that start to bubble up to be dealt with. There might be different facets of work with different clients that I work with in the next few weeks that feed into this question, and we feel like, oh, this is something that we should present to this audience who's already invested in this particular series of questions. But for now, it feels like we've really kind of finished up the question. Sometimes the guardian angels will do a hand dusting gesture when they want me to wrap things up, and it's lucky that they do that, or I would just keep going forever, and we have to move on with our lives. We've got things to do. Okay, so what we're going to do right now first is send up a lot of gratitude to the guardian angels who sent in those answers first of all, to the client's guardian angels for not only working through that with us in the original healing session this afternoon, but also working through it again a second time so that I could have better awareness of what happened in that session, so that all of us could understand better what was going on there. So big giant gratitude to those guardian angels, thanking them so much for showing up not only for this recording, but for previous recordings, and if we're lucky, for future recordings. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. We never know, when we sit down, if anything is going to come through. And any day could be the day when we set up the equipment and I start recording and ask them if they're interested in answering, or ask if anyone wants to help this particular group, this particular audience, and nobody shows up. And then I would just look at the screen and say, I guess it's not today, and I would turn it off and have a real come to Jesus moment, I guess. But so far we've gotten very, very lucky. We've been very fortunate. And that is something I try not to take for granted. Thank you. All right, so we are going to start wrapping it up for today. Just a reminder, again, if you're interested in seeing higher quality videos, since this is not our best equipment and we're doing the best we can with it, the best thing I can ask is to join the Patreon channel. The link is underneath this video. I do produce more videos for the Patreon than I produce just for YouTube. YouTube, it's kind of whenever I get the time, and Patreon, I try to keep to a more regular schedule. The Patreon viewers get opportunities to have more interactions with me, more interactions with each other. We get to really work through problems together. And so I highly recommend it in general. It also is a way to help support this kind of work and support channeling of this quality that I don't know if anyone else is doing in the same way. And so it would be great if you could help it stay alive. What else? What else do we need to talk about? If working through these episodes, this particular episode series, you have had feelings of, wow, this feels relevant to my life. I would like to work through these kinds of things with a trained professional who can channel my own personal guardian angels and help me work through the obstacles that are keeping me from moving forward in my life. If that's something you're interested in, you can absolutely contact me for a private healing session. I facilitate healing sessions for the most part by phone for clients all over the world. I have flexible pricing for people who are in difficult situations, sticky situations. Let me know what's going on and we can work through it. There's a link to my website underneath this video as well. And through that link, you should be able to contact me and we should be able to start the process of working out what might work best for you. What matters most as we work through questions like this, again, is to remember every person is unique, every situation is unique. Your life is not the same as anybody else's life. Your life is not the same as any other life that you've had in previous lifetimes throughout your incarnation stream. This one is unique, and it's got to be unique or you would just be living in Groundhog Day and nothing would ever get done. And so remember that just because something worked for somebody else doesn't mean it's going to work for you. Just because something failed for somebody else does not mean it's going to fail for you. Sometimes it does. Don't jump off a building. It will not work for you. But barring the laws of physics, for the most part, you can't really gauge how things are going to turn out until you give it a shot. All right, we're going to wrap it up today. You did excellent work today. I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of you for showing up. Whether this is the first series of videos you've watched, whether you've come back over and over again, I'm proud of you for showing up. Okay, and I look forward to hearing how it goes for you. Feel free to comment, let me know what your experiences were with this video. Please ask questions. I live for your questions. It's great when they get to answer them and I get to hear the answers, and it helps me figure things out with my other clients, with my own personal life. It's really a useful exercise for us all. So I love when we get to join each other on it. Okay, let's do a closing process for this healing session and let's wrap it up. Until next time, bye-bye.